it'd be disrespectful to degenerate bettors out there to call this a degenerate special. Utah State, Boise, just too good at teams. We got to refer to this one as the get back game, the get back special. We got 66.5 the total. Boise State laying 3 on the blue turf late Saturday night. This will be a great one to watch. How are you looking to bet it?
You know, I want to be clear here in saying I think this is the best game in the country this week, Utah State, Boise State. I really do believe that. I think this is the most underappreciated game that will get the least amount of coverage, obviously because it's not in a major conference. But okay, I referenced a minute ago. I want to pull this back up. The top 3 teams in the country with the largest average margin of victory. Alabama, 35.6 was first. Clemson is second in the country, 32.6. Third, Utah State, 27.2. How about that? We got the Aggies, and we're talking about the Aggies in the same sentence as Alabama and Clemson. So here we go. We're going with Boise State and Utah State because all the talk always is about Boise State. This is their conference. I think bettors are actually the smart ones here because they really do know how good Utah State is. And I think non-traditional gamblers or guys that just bet football here and there will go with Boise State and the blue turf because that's what they think of with college football as Boise State. But let's actually talk numbers and about the game. Utah State 3-0 as a top 25 team this year, 7-1 all-time when ranked in the top 25. Also, check this out, Drew. Utah State leads the nation in scoring drives under a minute with 24. They lead the nation on defense with 18 interceptions. They lead the nation with 10 non-offensive touchdowns. They're second in the country in scoring, 49.3, and they're second in the country in turnovers forced with 28. So all this stuff we can talk about Utah State, and you can talk about their schedule. You can talk about whatever you want. This is a darn good football team. Oh, by the way, the Aggies average 40 on the road. Quarterback Jordan Love has thrown only 4 interceptions this year. I'm a big Utah State fan, Drew. I don't know why they're the underdog. Maybe it's just because it's the road and they're giving them a field goal favorite to Boise State. I really do believe, before I get to some Boise State notes, I really do believe Utah State's the better football team in this one. I'm going with the Aggies on the road.
Asher, you bring up a lot of good stats. I just think it comes down to the schedule. I mean, when we look at who Utah State has played, they started off with the Spartans, gave them a hell of a game, but Michigan State, it's obviously a down year for D'Antoni and the team. Then after that, it's New Mexico State, Tennessee Tech, Air Force. Literally, Air Force is the best team that they've beaten. Air Force is fine, decent team. But when that's the best team, I mean, BYU, you could make the argument they're the best team. UNLV, Wyoming, well coached, obviously under-talented. New Mexico, all their problems. Hawaii, San Jose State, Colorado State gave them a hell of a game. They were favored by almost 30 points. So it just comes down to schedule for me. Yeah, Love is a great player. Utah State, I mean, hats off to them. Boise State beat them 41-14. Not so sure that much has changed since last year. It going on the blue turf now, Asher, I think Boise State's the side here. I bet it personally. I think the number's short. I like Boise State. Finish it off on Boise State, man.
Well, I'm so glad you just mentioned everything you did about the schedule because exactly what you just said is what UCF is not doing with their schedule, Drew. In fact, Utah State is winning by more than, or they're winning double digits week in, week out. You can make the same argument, Drew, when it comes to UCF with their schedule. UCF seems to be just getting by with 12 to 15-point wins against lesser quality in the AAC. Utah State average win is mentioned by 40. But okay, here we go with Boise State. 9-2 versus Utah State. 8 in a row wins at home against the Aggies. Can't argue that one. Also, Boise State has scored first versus Utah State 12 times in a row, and they've led 13 out of 14 at the half. So when it comes to Boise State, Utah State, the series, the rivalry, it's very one-sided. But I just can't ignore what Utah State is doing week in, week out compared to what Boise State's doing against a very similar schedule.
I think the AAC is better than the Mountain West, Asher. You don't?
Whoa. We're not comparing conferences. We're comparing who they're playing on their schedule because both the teams, Boise State and Utah State, are in the same conference, and they are playing the same people. And what Utah State's doing against those common opponents is way more impressive than what Boise State's doing against.
Well, Boise played Fresno. Utah State, they didn't have Fresno or San Diego State.
I hear what you're saying, but how many common opponents have they had to compare them, and then let me know what the average margin of victories is for the Broncos and for the Aggies.
I mean, I'm looking at Colorado State here. They took it to Colorado State, covered a 24-point spread, and Utah State went down to the wire.
What week was that?
So what, you're like at Utah State?
I just think that you have a team that has the perfect storm right now with Utah State. I just think way too many things are going right for the Aggies. I think they're on an absolute roll. And I really believe they have nothing to lose coming into this one. They were the team that nobody thought was going to do anything. Boise State, the traditional power in the Mountain West. This is a primetime game for Utah State, and it's a resume builder for Coach Wells, who I believe will be the next coach at USC, assuming they don't lure a big name elsewhere.
Ooh, good one. I like that. Utah State coach moving to USC. Good recruiter. I like that one. We got Nolly saying Utah State offense is overrated. OC has some weird strategies. Interesting there. Headshot asking
but Drew,
about UVA.
Drew.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How can you have 24 offensive drives last less than a minute? I mean, that's a stat right there that I don't care how goofy you think an OC is. That is production.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter how goofy it is, as long as it's getting the results. The more goofy, the better. I love watching the triple option and goofy offenses, if you will.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.